Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, where food and fitness come to hang out. Nutrition, training, and life. It's all fair game on Meathead Test Kitchen.
Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, a podcast where we're committed to keeping you aware of the world going on around you and hoping to make your fitness and nutrition journey a suck less. I'm Sausha.
I'm Sadie.
And to wrap up our September series on risk versus reward, we needed to and wanted to talk about tracking your food and weighing your food. Obviously, it can be a really great tool, but it can also fuck you up. So let's go. And by the way,
Yes,
I have to apologize for my voice on this episode. It's a lot deeper than usual. I'm combating allergies. I think I'm getting a cold. So yeah.
we sometimes actually do have deeper voices, if you're wondering, when we're sick.
Yep.
No, like weighing your food is super important. We recommend it. We talk about it a lot. We think that it is a necessity in your fitness journey. However, like with everything, there are two sides to every coin. So is it going to be something that is okay for a while, and then it just kind of balloons into something out of control? Then you know that you need to take a step back. We're going to talk about all of these things here in a hot minute. But portion control is super fucking important, especially if you live in the same place that we do. Portion control is eating the suggested size, like the USDA or the FDA. They all have different all these agencies that regulate food and all that stuff. They all have different recommendations, but they're all pretty much the same. So you need to eat X amount of protein, X amount of carbs, X amount of fat per day. However you want to stack it, that's fine, but you have to fill those macros. So portion control is really important because it helps drive home how much of whatever is actually in a serving. And there's a bunch of things that you can do to work on proper portion control, but today we're going to focus just on weighing your food for sake of simplicity. We can elaborate more on other things, and we will at the end of the episode, but a serving of coffee creamer is not as big as you think it is, my friend.
Yep. Yeah. It's actually that and peanut butter. I think
Oh my God.
people what the actual serving is.
It's criminal. And butter.
Yeah.
Like sour cream on a baked potato, that big wad that you put on there is like 4 servings.
Yeah. Yep. And then again, sour cream even.
Oh, so good though.
I know it is. So learning portion control is paramount, especially when you're starting out on this journey. I think it's a very useful tool to carry through on your whole entire journey. Just being aware of and knowing what these serving sizes and portions look like can help. Make sure that you're not overeating. So there's a lot of data that says if you're offered a large portion size, you're probably going to eat it. And we did cover this on a little bit more in depth on a previous episode. So go back and check that out. But don't do it. Don't
say no.
Get the large portion size because you're going to eat it, period. Portion distortion, and we've covered it before. It's a huge issue, especially here in the United States.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with one of my friends on Twitter the other day, and there was the discussion of how are Applebee's, Olive Garden, Chili's, and there was one more, still Red Lobster, still in business. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know, man, but they're all mid as fuck. The only exceptions to the rule are Puerto Rican Chili's and Puerto Rican Applebee's, because fast food and fast casual for some reason over there just fucking slaps. It doesn't matter what you get. It's going to be the best version of any fast food you've ever eaten. But and we talked about that. And it's I told them, I was like, dude, here's the thing about living in the US. People don't give a shit about the quality of food as long as they get a lot of it.
Yeah.
You could give them the most bland fucking garbage, and as long as they get 5 servings of it, they don't give a shit.
Well, and I think that we've been conditioned too over time just to expect those larger portion sizes. Yes. So when something costs more money and you get less of it, we feel sometimes, I think, that we're being ripped off or something. Hell, I went to, just for sake of, I needed something really quick and I had very limited time and I didn't bring a lunch with me. I ran to Burger King and I ordered a medium meal. That shit is what a large was, or an extra large was, 5 years ago. It's astonishing. Mm-hmm. I was like, I can't eat all this. I don't want all this. Do
you remember the biggie fries from old school Wendy's?
Yeah.
Dude, you got a fucking 5-pound bag of French fries when you would order your biggie combo meal.
Now that's a large.
Yeah, now it's a large. You get a fucking 55-gallon drum of soda when you order a large combo. And it's damn, do I really need fucking 44 ounces of Coca-Cola right now? The answer is always no,
Right.
but it's there. So you're going to drink it. And herein lies the problem.
Yeah. And I think what I'm going to do for one of the clips this week while we're talking about this is go and grab pictures from legitimately 5-10 years ago and compare them to the sizes that they are now. Because large or an extra large was a 32-ounce drink. And now that's a medium. A small is like 20 ounces. It's
I remember
crazy.
when a small combo drink was 8 ounces. It was the size of a kid's meal cup.
Yep.
And now it's just gargantuan.
Just to put it in perspective for y'all.
Not to shame anyone. That's not what we're fucking here for. Like, we are all a product of our surroundings. We do what we need to do to get by, and we're not calling you out for any of that shit. But we are calling you out just to make you aware that that is a problem that we deal with in society if you live in the US. So, you know, weighing your food is step one of setting the footing of your nutrition castle. Now, you know, that fucking giant, elegant castle is going to take a while to build the Scarlet Keep. However, you need to start and you need to make sure that your footing is fucking solid, because those turrets aren't going to stand if your fucking bricks on the bottom are garbage. So make sure that you're doing that repetition. It's all about repetition. You've heard the cliche, you can't outrun your fork. I fucking hate it, but it's true. Like, you have to eat with intention if you're going to be busting your ass in the gym.
Yep.
If you want it to work the way that you want it to go, which we all want it to go the same way, which is fucking awesome. So you need to be eating to support that work. And that means that you need to be paying attention to how much of what you're eating.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we're not saying eat less. Still eat your recommended daily amount of calories. Just weigh your food so that you know what a fucking portion size of hamburger looks like.
Yep, exactly. And if you don't like weighing your food, that's totally fine. There are other options to gauge what the actual portion sizes are. And we're going to cover some of those later on in the episode. If you need recommendations on a food scale, we've got one on our Amazon storefront at meatheadtestkitchen.com. And we've got our favorite one up there. It's like $15.
Yeah, it's like a fucking third party random brand you've never heard of, but it is solid.
Yeah.
I've had it for like 6 years. It is mwah. But also the thing about weighing your food is, like, even if you don't like want to, here's what made weighing my food less of an obsession. Weighing your food even isn't the most accurate caloric count. You're never going to truly know what the actual caloric count of a food is. I'm going to say that again. We have an idea of what the caloric count is based on studies and averages, but we do not know exactly how many calories are in that serving of ground beef that you're eating. So if you're obsessing over fucking measuring your calories, don't, because it's not an exact science. It never will be an exact science, and you're going to make yourself miserable.
Yeah. 1,000%. The other thing too, and I know that we dove into this a little bit deeper on a previous episode, but like making sure that you're checking like those food labels, and so that you're aware. Just because you have a whole entire flatbread doesn't mean that that whole entire flatbread is the serving necessarily. You have to look at those food labels, because sometimes it's half of what that is, half of your wrap or whatever.
One thing isn't necessarily a serving.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like MyFitnessPal, if you're using that too, you need to keep that in mind, because you need to check that stuff. Not because they might accidentally be adding more food. You might not be counting enough food.
Right. Yep.
Like it can go both ways. So if you're tracking your food if you're using like Trifecta or Livestrong or it doesn't matter what you use, just make sure that the portion size on the app matches the portion size on the label, and you're fucking good to go. And so like we're doing risk reward. So we're talking about why you should weigh your food. What is the risk of tracking your food? And we all know what the risk is, but we're going to actually dig in and talk about it. So the number one risk of tracking your food is becoming obsessed and flirting with disordered eating. We don't want that. That is the last fucking thing any of us ever want you to do. If you're a true fitness professional, that is the last fucking thing you ever want someone to do. I don't ever want to be the reason someone has disordered eating. Ever.
1,000%.
That means that I'm doing a shit job. That means that I'm really fucking bad at my job, and I did not succeed at helping you find a healthy relationship with your food, with your food and with your body. Like, so you want to avoid disordered eating at all costs. And Sausha and I have been on one end and I've been on the other end. Like, I used to eat my feelings. Sausha just wouldn't eat, or she would, obsess about what she would eat and then try to work it off. Like, it can be a couple different things.
Yep.
Like, you don't necessarily have to be starving yourself to have disordered eating. So like, again, we're not trying to call you out, but if this is hitting home for you, there might be a reason, and it might be time to talk to a therapist or a doctor before you do anything, before you work on your portion sizes.
Yeah.
That's a mental thing. Eating disorders are more mental than they are physical. You see the physical effects of them, but they are 100% upstairs. So you need to talk to a therapist and to a doctor. They need to work together. You need to get that squared away before you even think about fucking with portion sizes.
When Sadie brought this up as the topic for this week, I was like, actually, that's a really good point, because I actually recently had to stop weighing my food just because I was obsessing over it. Like I felt like I couldn't eat something unless I weighed it. And I don't like that because of my past. And I've talked about it on the podcast before, but like when I start to feel that way, or, you know, I find myself obsessing about it, or I can't think of anything else, and I'm not actually enjoying the food, I'm worrying about the food, that's when I need to pull back and stop doing things.
And this is why it's important to talk to a therapist, because Sausha has done that. So she recognizes her own red flags of when she needs to be like, oh shit, this ain't working.
Yep. And so now, you know, I'm making mindful food choices, but I'm not, if I do weigh anything, it's just to make sure that I still have a grasp of what my portion sizes look like.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to, again, like with fitness, I'm supposed to set you up for success. We are supposed to set you up for success. That's what our jobs are supposed to be, not to sell you snake oil and make you think that water is bad.
Right.
But like, it's like with a personal trainer. I would love to be your personal trainer forever, but the ultimate awesome feeling for me is to see you 2 or 3 years down the line feeling confident enough that you're like, yo, dude, I can fuck with this shit on my own.
Yep.
Awesome. Then go. If you want to keep paying me, of course, I'm going to be a big fan of that, and I'm going to allow it, and I'm going to fucking kick your ass in the gym. But if you are like, yo, baby bird's ready to leave the nest, fucking go.
Yeah.
Like the same thing applies to weighing your food. You come to a point where you realize that you just don't need to do it anymore.
Yeah. Because you already know, like my favorite thing is when I will randomly weigh something now, and it's like fucking spot on. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's like anything else, you know, practice makes perfect. Again, here we are with the cliches. Like if you continue to do something, you're going to become a pro at that, and you're going to be able to recognize how much a serving is or how much that portion size is. You're just going to know and eyeball it.
Yeah.
Even just by feel sometimes.
This is one of those exceptions to the rule, practice makes perfect, because if you do weigh your food enough times, you will get really fucking good at nailing those quantities. Like muscle memory and repetition is an amazing thing, and it applies to everything in your life.
Absolutely.
Including how you fucking dish your food.
Yeah.
So yeah, like intuitive eating is what we ultimately want you to be able to do. And that's what we're going to spend like the rest of this talking about. Intuitive eating is like when your body says, hey, I'm hungry, you eat, and you eat what makes sense. So when I say you eat what makes sense, you're eating, you know, well-rounded meals. You're eating whole foods. You're not just going and smashing an entire bag of Lay's Funyun flavored chips, which why are we flavoring chips after other chips?
Onions, flavored onion Funyun rings.
Dude, I was so confused after the the chili flavored Fritos potato chips. I'm like, why are we flavoring chips after other chips? They already exist. Go buy them. Like, what the? You can't make a potato chip taste like a fucking corn chip. I'm sorry. It's not possible.
No, it's not.
It's not possible. Do something different.
I came up in a meeting the other day, and I'd seen a video on it, and I like nailed the full label of it, and like Gorman just busted out laughing. And I was like, I gotta post this on Twitter.
Dude, it's funny. Fucking Funyuns. Funyun story. So one of my favorite stories. I hear Funyuns, I think of my friend Satan. So Phil got a new car, and they were road tripping, and Satan was eating Funyuns, and he goes, hey Phil, do you want a Funyun? And he went like that, and the whole fucking bag of Funyuns went all over his new car.
That sucks.
So you say the word Funyuns and I giggle because I think of Satan spilling fucking onion flavored rings all over Phil's car.
I will say, if I'm going to eat chips, I don't eat chips very often.
I don't either, but when I do,
it's tortilla chips or Funyuns.
Ooh, tortilla chips are always a banger. I like
salsa.
Sour cream and cheese ruffles are my kryptonite. But anyway, intuitive eating. So don't eat a whole bag of potato chips because you're stoned after 3 edibles. Like, have some fruit around the house. Make sure you've got lunch meat to make a fucking sandwich. Like, intuitive eating is not a fuck it button. Let me reiterate that. Intuitive eating is not a fuck it button. You don't get full license to do all of that fucking work that you put in, learning how to weigh your food and portion control and tracking and all of that useful shit. You still will need it, because there are going to come times where you're like, oh, I don't necessarily like how that's looking right now. I might need to dial in my protein intake a little bit because I'm not building as much muscle as I want to in my ass, or, you know, whatever. But it's not an excuse to just say, fuck it, we're going live and just axe everything you just worked with. You're still going to eat with intention to hit your goals, but you're a little more loose with your portion guidelines.
Yeah, for sure. And there are like 10 basic goals of intuitive eating. Reject the diet mentality. So like, you don't need to be on a fucking diet. You don't, the 30-day fucking fix shit. Like, that gets out of your head.
I will Jersey Shore fist pump to that shit all day.
You're honoring your hunger. You're recognizing that you are hungry, and then you're going to go eat something with intention.
Eat your food.
You're making peace with your food. It's not a punishment, and it doesn't give you, it's not a punishment, and it doesn't need to be worked off.
Yeah.
Challenge the food police. Fuck yeah, challenge the food police.
So there's the soda next to that salad you ordered at Chick-fil-A.
Exactly. There aren't good and bad foods. It's just food. Maybe something is more nutritionally dense than something else, but it doesn't mean that it's bad.
And guess what? If you ate those fucking waffle fries, you honored your hunger. Good for you. You listened to your body.
Exactly. If you have a craving, it's better to have a small bit of that thing versus ignoring it and then going and eating a bunch of other stuff that isn't going to satiate that craving.
Yep. Just eat the fucking,
have a fucking brownie.
Calories and brownies. Eat the brownies.
Yep. 1,000%.
Just don't have a soda later, or don't drink a beer.
Yeah. Discover the satisfaction factor. So knowing when you're full. So I linked this article down in the show notes, but just to further expand on this, the Japanese have the wisdom to keep pleasure as one of their goals of healthy living. In our compulsion to comply with diet culture, we often overlook one of the most basic gifts of existence, the pleasure and satisfaction that can be found in the eating experience.
Food coma.
Fuck yeah. Eat good food if you want to. Like, diet culture. Feel your fullness. Like, a lot of times I think like eating with intent gets overlooked in what that actually means. Like, you don't have to wolf down your food. Like, you can actually sit and enjoy your food. Chances are you're going to have less propensity to overeat if you just slow down and enjoy the experience of eating your food.
And there is science to back that says if you eat too fast, your stomach doesn't recognize that it's not hungry anymore. So if you eat food too fast and then you get a ripping stomach ache after dinner, it's because you ate too much. You need to slow down.
Yep. Cope with your emotions with kindness. And just to further elaborate on that, hello, it's Friday. In order to honor your fullness, you need to trust that you will give yourself the foods that you desire. Listening for the body signals that tell you that you're no longer hungry. Oh, that's feel your fullness. What the fuck? Anyway, coping with your emotions with kindness. First, recognize that food restriction, both physically and mentally, can in and of itself trigger loss of control, which can feel like emotional eating. So find a way to comfort, nurture, and distract and resolve your issues that don't necessarily have to center around food. So anxiety, loneliness, boredom, and anger are emotions that everyone's going to go through that, right?
Yes.
And each of them has its own trigger.
Yes.
And its own appeasement.
Yes.
Food isn't going to fix any of that.
No. And like, it's also very important to realize that when you do the all or nothing mentality, it's very easy to talk yourself out of things. Mm-hmm. So this is why we like to avoid the you can't do this rules. Mm-hmm. Like we don't buy into that bullshit. We are not. Yeah, we've got lots of people that we're quasi famous on TikTok, but we're not those kind of fucking people. Like if you're just coming into the podcast for the first time, hello, welcome. I'm an ISSA certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. I am not a registered dietitian. There is a difference. I have not taken a state board exam or gone to college for it, but I am allowed to help you change your habits around food and live a healthier lifestyle. So if you're dealing with any sort of baggage around food, therapist, registered dietitian, doctor, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Like there is full stop. You need to go talk to them before you move on with any of this because you need to get your mental game in check. It's going to be hard. You're going to want stuff. And you're going to try to have this all or nothing mentality because it's just ingrained in us that certain things we think are bad because people have reinforced it falsely, but they've reinforced it in us for so fucking long. Mm-hmm. So like, you need to know that you're going to fail and you need to be okay with that. Like, you need to know that some days it's going to fucking suck and you need to be okay with that.
Yep.
Like,
And that leads in
Honor your
really well.
emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, that leads really well into the 8th one on the list, which is respecting your body. Accepting that your meat suit is yours. You're the only person who has it. It's only yours. It's unique to you.
And nobody's is absolutely 100% perfect.
Exactly. And just as a person with a size 8 shoe would not expect to realistically put their foot into a size 6, it's equally uncomfortable to have a similar expectation about body size. Respecting your body can also help you feel better about who you are. It's hard to reject the diet mentality if you're unrealistic and overly critical of your body size or shape.
Yeah, like
Everybody
so
has dignity and deserves
everybody
dignity.
does. Yes. And everybody is so we all have the same components, but our schematic is a little bit different. So like someone I was always jealous of my friend in high school. She has an awesome ass. She's always had an amazing ass. Like she's had the hips from the gods for our entire lives. And like here I am, and I'm like, I want an ass. Why don't I have an ass? Well, it's because I haven't been able to squat because I had to have knee surgery. But like again, like you have to remember that some people are born with really good genetics, but even then, those people that you think are fucking perfect still aren't perfect. And if they are, they probably had help surgically.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Do that for you. We're not going to say don't do that, but also don't let the societal pressure of having to be, especially talking to the femmes here. I'm really talking to our femmes here. Don't let the men folk fucking socially pressure you into feeling like you have to look different because they want you to.
Yeah, no. We are for ourselves out here, okay?
Yes. We live our lives for
us. So there's only 2 left on this list, but movement, feeling the difference. Forget malignant exercise. Just get active and feel the difference. And then 10, honor your health with gentle nutrition, making food choices that honor the health journey that you're on, like we said earlier.
Your body is a temple, but sometimes that temple needs fucking tacos and tequila, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Balance is important.
Yes.
And this is the ultimate goal. You want to learn how to do this shit for life. And we want you to learn how to do this shit for life. So much so that we made a fucking podcast about it. That's how much we want to be able to help people figure this shit out, because we figured it out and it changed a lot of shit for the good for us. And we want you to be able to feel the same. So practice up with your scale, test your portion guessing from time to time. You'll be an ace at figuring out how much rice is on your plate in no time.
Oh yeah. Again, it can go off feel, it can go off look, it can go off, you're just going to know. It's going to be second nature to you, but it does take practice. It can, so the negatives again, it can interfere with your easy daily stuff like going out for lunch. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want to weigh your Chipotle out at the table, maybe use a hand measure method for those days. Yeah. There's other things that you can do too. I mean, good rule of thumb, especially with, like we were saying, portion sizes in America are gigantic. You can always have your meals, like half them, and then save the rest for later or lunch the next day.
And I mentioned Chipotle for this exact reason, because that's one of my favorite things to get for lunch and then have it for a snack in between lunch and dinner, because it's definitely not like one serving of Chipotle is, depending on how high you stack it, 2 to 3 servings of food for a person.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're working really hard, if you're fucking, if you're an NFL athlete, that's fine. Eat it. Go. That's a serving of food for you. You eat 3,500 calories a day because you're a brick shit house.
Right. But the other thing too, and we talked about this on the other episode, and we talked quite a bit about just like portion sizes and things like that. But in America specifically, your portion sizes are huge. And even if they are offering you nutrition, I think everybody has to now, every restaurant has to provide nutritional information. Even though they're providing that nutritional information, their portion sizes are probably still larger than what they're putting on there. Mm-hmm. That's general guidelines. If they were weighing out everything every single time, and I guarantee you they're probably not. No. I usually will add an additional 25% of total caloric value on top of whatever for that whole meal.
I worked in the food prep side of food service, so I had to weigh everything. Everything was measured and everything was weighed because we were doing mass scale stuff. But like if you're going to a restaurant, KFC is not weighing out how much potatoes they're putting in that fucking thing. They're not taking a tablespoon into the gravy dipper. They're fucking just like, you're getting brown on your potatoes, and it's however fucking much the person that's working that day wants to put on it.
Exactly. And again, remember, it's fast casual or they're trying to get your food to you quickly. They don't have time to fucking sit and count out 25 French fries. Like,
you want it good, fast, or cheap? You get 2.
exactly. But just being aware of and mindful of that stuff, go have that stuff.
Yeah, eat it. We're not saying don't eat it. We love some of that shit.
Accommodate for yourself. If you're going to be tracking it, you got to add a little bit more on top of that.
Yeah, we usually put 0.5 extra servings on there. So if you're having what they say is a serving, like you get a serving, 1.5, just to be safe. Again, because it's not an exact science, but you want to err on the side of, oh, I don't have enough calories left versus, oh, I ate 600 too many, you know?
Right. Another thing that you can do too, just overall calories, like take your 7-day total of how many calories you can have in a week, or I shouldn't say can or can't. You know what I'm saying here.
Calculated number.
Your calculated calories for the week. And if you want to go out a couple nights a week, take away a little bit on the days that you didn't go out to eat.
You know what I would do?
Overall rolling average.
I would eat. So we used to do a lot of old Chicago late night happy hour because everything was half off.
Yeah.
Buffalo chicken rolls are fucking life. They are one of my favorite fast casual things ever. So
crunch on bottom. So good.
Melted crunchy cheese.
Yes.
Oh, and the hot. God damn it. Now I want old Chicago. I'm going to have to make buffalo rolls. One, this is why you learn how to dupe your own fast food at home, because you can make it your own way, how you like it. It's cheaper and you know everything that fucking goes into it. But 2, if you're going to go get the buffalo rolls from old Chicago, I used to just make myself a deal. Like, okay, I'm going to go have these. I want them. They're delicious. I'm going to enjoy them. I'm just not going to have soda for dinner because I'm going to be eating fucking buffalo rolls. And then I'd get like a side salad.
Yep.
That's what you do.
Perfect. And then that's a well-rounded meal.
Yeah, you just have to fuck around with like your side dishes and your drinks. You can still get that crispy chicken sandwich if you want it.
Have it. Enjoy it. Savor it.
Yeah. Life's short. Eat food that tastes good.
You should be enjoying your food.
But also don't fall off the deep end and lose all track of what you're trying to do with your fitness and nutrition journey. Because again, all of these things are building that castle for you to stand up at the top in 5 years and be like, look at the shit I did, bitches.
Yeah.
I built this. Like, so you need to be on solid footing so that you're not standing in a pile of rubble in 2 months. Mm-hmm. And learning how to eat out. Learning how to eat out. Teehee. Learning how to eat out is important in more ways than one in life.
It sure is.
But, if you learn how to go out to eat and order things that still satisfy your cravings while also not sabotaging yourself, you're so fucking set. That is like one of the hardest things about having nutrition and fitness goals and being a social human at the same time. So if you can master that, the sooner you do, the better you are, because you lose all of that, like, that feeling that, oh, well, I have to do this. No, just tell them like, hey, I'm going to order a side salad tonight. I'm going to drink tea. I don't need any beers tonight, please. Like tonight's one of my nights where I got to keep it in check. Like that's all you have to say. And if they don't like it, then find new friends.
Yeah.
They're not respecting your wishes or your boundaries. And that's a problem.
Exactly. I think too, I used to, gosh, I'm like having flashbacks of where I was headed with weighing my food. But I had gotten to the point where I was going to I bought a tiny compactable food scale.
Did you buy a weed scale?
Yeah, basically. But I was going to bring that with me to every restaurant I went to make it got out of hand. Like go have your food if you want to have a more nutritionally dense option, get grilled chicken, like have the side salad as your side. Don't bring a weed scale to the restaurant with you.
They're so cool. they're like this big.
Yeah, I bought one of those.
That's a weed scale.
Okay, well, more Meathead Test Kitchen adventures of Sausha being naive.
Technically, it's not a weed scale, but it's a weed scale.
God, I'm naive. Okay. Sweet.
I've spent a lot of time in the hood with my hood friends. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. You don't need to bring a food scale with you to a restaurant.
Sasha's weed scale.
I don't know where it is now. I think it's in a drawer somewhere.
I hope it winds up in your office.
I'm going to bring it to work.
Here, put your business card holder on it.
Just so you can have a laugh every time you come in. Oh my gosh. Well,
We're mature adults. We
we are.
promise.
If weighing and tracking does not work for you or stops working for you in a healthy way, you have other options too.
Yeah, your life is not over. Everything isn't terrible. You're not done. You're
No.
just fucking tired. You're truly fucking tired of weighing your food, and it happens.
Yes, you can use the hand measure method. Palm size protein, fist size serving of vegetables, a cupped hand serving of carbs, and a serving of fats is about the size of your thumb.
Yep. And that's going to be, so here's the cool thing about this is everyone's hand size is kind of dependent on how big they are, like how tall they are stature wise. So like if you think about someone that's 6'7", their palm size portion of protein is going to be far bigger than my baby hand palm size portion of protein at 5'10". Like, and that's by design. And that's why we love this. If you don't want to weigh your food, that's okay. You still have there are other avenues for you to reach the end goal. And one of those is the hand method.
Yeah.
I put a precision nutrition article. It's a PDF file. It's called Hand Portion Guide. It'll be in the show notes, meatheadtestkitchen.com. But it gives you the full rundown and far more explanation than we're going to do right now, because we're not going to have an hour-long episode about how to explain how to hand measure your food. But it's really good. It works for everybody because it's dependent on your individual setup, which is honestly what we all try to do. Why do we hate diet culture? Because it's a cookie cutter solution to fucking solving everyone's problems. And that's not possible because we're all different.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Everybody needs to have something that is slightly in some capacity custom tailored to themselves when it comes to your fitness and nutrition, because you are not me. You are not Sausha. Like Sausha and I are very much built similar, but we also are very different. Like we have different looking movement patterns. We have different looking like everything.
Yep.
So don't think just because it's working for the person that you see online. Again, don't think because it's working for someone you see online that it will work for you. You're not them. Just know that going in, and not saying that you can't do it. Just know that you might not look exactly like them, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah. And also, again, just to reiterate, practice makes perfect.
Yes.
Like legitimately. Like
in portion sizes, this is very true.
It's 1,000%. And you just it becomes intuitive to you after a certain amount of time. Again, if you
it
are
really is second nature.
like legit. If you are feeling like you are having some issues mentally with this at all, at any point, again, to reiterate, make sure that you're reaching out to a therapist. Make sure you're reaching out to your doctor. Make sure that you're reaching out to a registered dietitian.
And if you need help finding those resources, please email us. We can point you in the right direction.
hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com.
So you can do the hand method. You can also use household objects to estimate your portion sizes of your food. So like fruits and veggies are about the size of a baseball or a tennis ball. A serving of carbs is going to be about the size of a hockey puck. A protein is going to be about the size of a deck of cards, and the size of a fat serving is about the size of a dice.
Yeah. It always throws me off, and it's just because I'm like protein queen over here. But like that deck of cards is 4 ounces of meat. Like I'm like, nah, give me 2. I want more.
I'm definitely an 8 to 12 ounce portion of protein person.
Me too.
That's just my personal preference.
Like,
I don't eat protein at every meal, but when I do eat protein, I make sure that I am eating plenty, especially as someone that has fought anemia when I try to be vegetarian. If you're wondering, that's why I'm an omnivore. Not that it's anybody's fucking business, but again, everyone's different. I've tried to be vegan. I've tried to be vegetarian. My body said, "No, dude, we're not fucking doing that." And I had to listen, because otherwise I wouldn't have hair. My skin would look like shit. My bones would be brittle, and I'd be miserable.
Yep.
Did it suck that I don't get to do the morally good thing that I want to do, which isn't eating animals? Yes, it did. It was a very fucking difficult decision to come to, but I realized that it just doesn't work for me.
Yep.
And does that make me a dick? No. You have to fucking listen to your physiology. If your body says do not do this, don't do it.
Don't do it. If you guys want us to continue on or do another series of risk versus reward, please send in your suggestions to hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com, or you can slide into our DMs. We're at Meathead Test Kitchen everywhere except for Twitter. We're at MTK Staff.
Yes.
Buy some stuff. Our merch specifically. Shop.hurrdatmedia.com.
Buy our shit. It pays our bills.
Yes. We also have some programming at Meathead Athletics. If you're interested, there's a intro, novice, advanced. We have
coming soon.
I'm finishing up the running training program.
Yes, it's gonna be momentum. It's gonna be awesome.
Very excited. I hopefully beginning of October-ish will be completed and all designed and able to go out. I just got some new fucking running shoes, and now I'm super jacked. And then I believe our friend Sadie here has some openings as well for personal training and nutrition.
I do. You can find those at meatheadathletics.com. I have a couple openings for personal training clients. I did add some more to my roster. So if you want to get in on that, please do meatheadathletics.com and you click on our services. I have that. I have nutrition coaching. We've got templates. So fucking get strong, yo.
Hell yeah.
What's stopping you? Nothing.
Yourself.
I mean, there might be other things. That's a rhetorical question. If you have other answers to that, you're swearing at me right now because I'm coming off as a know-it-all bitch. That was not my purpose. But I'm just saying, you can do the thing.
You can do hard shit. Hey, be fucking nice to people.
Please.
And be nice to yourself. We love you.
Be good. Avoid the bookings. MTK out.
Join Sadie and Sausha every Monday, helping to make your fitness and nutrition journey suck less. MTK.